Hey guys, good morning. Welcome to my channel. Today I just wanted to share something with you. It's fresh. I basically just woke up. So yesterday I was in this ego prison, this ego hell. I was just burning and I was like, what is this? I haven't felt this bad in a long time, right? And it was it really stemmed from this inner child coming up, you feel like you need something, but you don't even really know what it is. It's just this deep unsatisfactoriness, just pervading your being, right? There's got to be just something out there that can make me feel better right now, you know? And you just have this desire to act impulsively and compulsively. You can't get still. Usually when I'm in the ego or when the shadow's coming up, I have this ability to be the witness of it, right? This space of awareness to where I can observe it and not get so pulled by it. But yesterday that was not the case. I was just so in it and I was just so perplexed and just so confused as to why I was so heavy. And I realized I'm not deciding any of this. And I've never been deciding any of this. And I don't even really want to decide this. So no matter how, whenever I'm spiraling in egoic hell, ego hell, basically just means when I'm spiraling in thoughts and wanting things outside of myself to make me feel better. I always think, if I was just a better meditator, if I was just more spiritual, if I could just do yoga, all of these things, right? If I had just cultivated more spaciousness, if I was more self-realized, I always think those type of ego thoughts about how if I could achieve all of that, then I wouldn't have to be suffering this egoic hell, right? And that's just not true. I don't decide, even if I was the perfect meditator, perfect spiritual being, it's not it wouldn't matter. I'm going to go through these lower energies, this shadow work, regardless if I was, whatever I think I need to be on the spiritual path, right? And it was just such a deep realization, I don't choose any of this. I don't decide this. I get to decide whether I accept what is happening or whether I resist it. I get to decide whether I go with these lower energies and allow this process to unfold how it wants to unfold, or if I'm going to resist this and fight it and start beating myself up about it and, talking negatively to myself about how, what we get this spiritual ego that we can really use as a tool to make ourselves feel bad when we're feeling bad. And that was kind of what I was doing yesterday. It was I should be beyond this. Why am I still working through these issues? It was a lot of root chakra issues coming up for me. And I haven't dealt with that in a long time. So my ego was you should be beyond this. But this is a helix process, guys. It's not it's not like a layered cake, if you will. It's you don't just get beyond an issue and you're done with it. No, it's you get beyond it on one level and then the helix, then you go through it on another and another and another. And you just kind of keep going through these same things and you get more refined with it, and it's a different feel each time, and you have a new depth of awareness while you're going through it, as you go up the helix, of course. But it's kind of foolish to think that you're just done with certain paradigms. And that's what I learned. It's just more surrender. It was you're not choosing, you don't decide. You could have meditated all day. For myself, I could have meditated all day. I could have done all the right yoga things. I could have done all the affirmations, and the heart-centered meditation. But in the end, it was my fate and my destiny to experience what I was experiencing yesterday. And there's nothing we can do to avoid working through our shadow, because that's truly what the higher self came here to do through this vessel, through this body. We're a field of consciousness that a body exists within. It's not that the field of consciousness comes out from the body. I've said something similar to that before. I'm sure you've heard that. So it's like the higher self is using this body, this mind as a tool to have the experiences it wants to have. And part of those experiences are working through darkness. So even if we were totally immersed in the higher self and totally unidentified with the I-ness, the body, the smaller me, the smaller self, we're still going to have those experiences. The difference is we're just not going to resist. It's like you still have the emotions. I heard Soulful Taz say this. I really loved it. Awakening and all that, evolving and healing doesn't mean like you don't have the emotions. You still have the emotions. There's just no resistance there. And that's what I realized on such a deep level yesterday as I was lying in bed, getting ready to go to sleep. It was like, oh, I'm not deciding any of this. I never have decided any of this, and I don't even want to decide any of this. My personal will doesn't want to decide any of this, because every time my personal will tries to decide, meaning my ego, it just leads to a dead end of unsatisfaction and suffering. So it's like, I don't even want to decide anymore. Higher self, just take the wheel. I don't care. If you want to drive me into the darkness, that's great. I'm just going to like let go and not be so attached to it and not beat myself up and blame myself for experiencing. I'm not going to blame the experiencer for the shadow work that was destined to be done, whether I'm the perfect meditator or perfect spiritual being or not. So it was so helpful just to be like, oh, okay. And I was still feeling bad last night, but I wasn't fighting it anymore. I was just like done resisting it. And it just changed so much. Like when we're able to just finally not identify with the I or the small me, you could just start to feel energy flow in you more. And that's what was happening right before I went to bed. I could just finally, for the first time, feel energy start flowing. Because when we're fighting it and we're saying it shouldn't be happening, I'm beyond this, guess what? You're going to contract and you're going to feel energy get stuck. And then you're really going to start suffering. And so it was nice last night to feel that flow come back. Obviously, I feel so much better today. But last thing I want to share, crazy supernatural story, whatever. I don't even call it that. But last night as I'm falling asleep, you know that stage right before, when you're still awake, but right before sleep? I was in that stage and I had this strong, powerful vision of Adyashanti. I don't know if you know him. He's a very powerful spiritual teacher. He was actually the teacher of my teacher, Craig Holliday. And he said something like, Matthew, there's not a shred of ego. Or there's going to be a moment of not a shred of ego or something. And then all of a sudden, right after that, boom, this huge wave of, I would say light or just energy in general, like this like volcanic sized powerful wave of something was like on me, and I just clenched up immediately. It was like instantly too much for my super ego to handle, and I just closed down and it went away. And I was like, dang it, why didn't I just stay open to that? That might have been the path, like, because all day I've been asking, just show me the truth, universe, just show me the truth, God. And I think maybe what I feel is like something was gonna show me the truth, but I shut it away. I couldn't deal with it, and it just showed me like, dang it, and again, that was destined to happen. I didn't decide to do that. That just happened instantly. And it just showed me the parts of me that still don't trust, right? That still aren't open, that still feel the need to be guarded and protected from something bigger. Because truly something massive, something infinite was upon me, and I just kind of like, nope, not gonna happen right now. And that's okay. In the past, I've probably been really rough on myself about that. Like, why didn't you open? It could have been an amazing experience, but I realized I didn't really have a decision. There was no choice. It just happened, and that's okay. And maybe the next time something like that transpires, I'll be more there and more open and more willing to have that experience. So that's what I wanted to share today. If you're going through shadow work, don't think it's like because you did something wrong, like I was yesterday. Learn from what I went through. You're not doing anything wrong. It's part of your path. It's part of the process. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Namaste.